Absolutely everyone needs to learn this kung fu move, but it's not for the reasons that you might think. It has hidden techniques that could literally save your life, or at the very least, prevent a nasty injury. So whether you're a true martial arts fanatic or an unsteady granny, you need to learn this. On the surface, the duck step is just another kick to the groin, and we probably don't need another. But to truly understand this movement, we do need to start there. Our opponent has thrown an attack, and in evading it, we have overcommitted, compromising our position. To recover and prevent our opponent from taking advantage, we use the duck step, kicking our rear foot up at the opponent's groin as we move away and re-establish distance. Or perhaps you just want to run. Here, kicking up behind you dissuades even the scariest of masked men chasing you through the forest. We strike with the sole of the foot, and even if you don't get the groin, you can still get the shin or the knee, so every step you take gives them something to worry about. Although it may not look like much, you can actually get a lot of power in this kick, because your hamstrings and glutes are some of the strongest muscles in your body. And later in the video, I'll give you some ideas of how you can adapt this for the ring. For now though, let's look at what happens when that kicking foot steps forwards, because this is where things get really interesting. And this move turns from simple self-defense into the most valuable piece of kung fu you will ever learn. To explain, let's return to that forest, and an example of when I was very much in danger. Not from a masked lunatic, but from my own curiosity. Last year, my wife and I went to Borneo. It was a truly amazing experience, and I couldn't recommend it highly enough. I wanted to capture pictures of everything. Some of the rarer wildlife there only comes out at night though, which in the middle of the rainforest looks something like this. When you see it in the day, you realize you've basically got the biggest concentration of trip hazards ever, especially in the parts on the side of a mountain. So when walking around at night, the forest itself is the real danger. Now you might be thinking, duh, use a torch. And we did, obviously. But if you're pointing it at the ground the whole time, you'll be safe, but you're never gonna see any wildlife. Now my wife actually fell quite a few times, and luckily she was able to use both of her hands to grab onto things and break a fall, so she didn't hurt herself. I, meanwhile, was carrying my big heavy camera in both hands. Cue the duck step to save me breaking a leg and my shiny new lens. You see, that front foot doesn't just slap straight onto the ground. It glides out, probing the floor for obstacles before you commit any weight to it. From a self-defense perspective, you're looking back to watch what your opponent's doing, and so can't look at where you're going. In your day-to-day, using this means you never have to step on a Lego brick, trip on a curb, or miss a step down the stairs again. In the rainforest, using this step allowed me to avoid committing to unstable ground or a loose rock, keeping me secure even as we scrambled up and down slopes in the darkness. Even better, the foot flicking backwards serves a secondary purpose, sliding your foot back the way it came to ensure that it doesn't catch on anything which you may have stepped under, such as a vine or fallen branch. So whilst I've not used the duck step in self-defense or sparring, since people tend not to look kindly to a kick to the balls, it has kept me safe. Plus, it allowed me to get some great shots of nocturnal Bornean wildlife. This is just one example of the value that I've gained from Kung Fu beyond its use as a martial art. I intend to use it along with modern sports science to help me stay fit and healthy for life, and indeed help others to do the same. If you're interested in more Kung Fu and fitness tips to keep you fit and healthy, you can sign up to my newsletter using the link in the description below, or this QR code here. Returning to ring fighting, here the front foot isn't important, and you can't kick the groin, but you can still use the technique. One option would be to use it in combination with Erlang Danshan, countering a punch and then kicking your opponent. Legal targets would be the knee or thigh, and to get the most effect, you could turn it from an upwards flick to a donkey kick. Or if you're particularly athletic, you could do something like one of the most famous kicks in UFC history. And if you don't get a highlight reel knockout, you're still re-establishing distance, just as we see here. Within forms, you sometimes see this technique as a leap. Using it this way focuses on the kick and gaining distance, at the expense of scouting the floor. So if fighting is your main interest, the duck step clearly has value. But for me, its day-to-day use is where it really shines. Falls are a massive injury risk, even for the fit and healthy, but especially so as we age. Your ability to get up from a fall is one of the biggest predictors of life expectancy. So imagine how much better it is to not fall over in the first place. So get your practice in now with this movement, gently sliding that foot onto the floor before transitioning your weight onto it, and then bringing the other foot back to your bum. As you get familiar with it, you could even set up obstacles to really test yourself. Now you might look like you're applying for a job at the Ministry of Funny Walks, but if you ever need to cross a wood at night or navigate your kids' toys in the early hours of the morning, you won't need to risk an unexpected trip or embedding something where it doesn't belong. To perfect the duck step, you're also going to need one key attribute. And without it, this technique is pretty much useless. So check out this video next where I explain how you can master it and never fall down again.